My name is Tom Iron McCall. 23 years behind the wheel, 2 divorces, 1 kid who won't return my calls, and more miles on my odometer than most people walk in a lifetime. I've seen whiteouts in Wyoming, black ice in Montana, and things in the Arizona desert that still make me wake up sweating. But nothing prepared me for the run I took last October on US Route 50. They call it the loneliest road in America. 2-lane blacktops slicing through the middle of Nevada, empty as a grave for hundreds of miles. No cell service, no towns, just sagebrush, mountains, and the occasional busted-down pickup that might have been sitting there since the 90s. Dispatchers usually avoid it unless the money is stupid. This time the money was stupid. Triple the usual rate. Cash. Half up front, half on delivery. The load. 1 single crate. 20 feet long, 8 feet high, shrink-wrapped in black plastic and chained to the floor of my trailer like it might try to escape. The paperwork said, Project Eternal, Level 4 Bio-containment. No origin address, just a government-looking stamp and a phone number that rang once and went dead. The warehouse was an old concrete bunker off a dirt spur outside Eureka. No forklifts, no workers, just one guy in a hazmat suit who never took off his visor. He handed me the manifest, looked at me for a long second, and said the only words he ever spoke. Drive straight through. Do not open the doors. Do not stop until you reach the drop in Fallon. If you hear anything, ignore it. I laughed. Shouldn't have that. I fired up my Peterbilt, 18 wheels rolling, 78,000 pounds of whatever the hell was in that crate. The sun was bleeding out behind the mountains when I hit the on-ramp. By the time I reached the straightaway of Route 50, full dark had swallowed the desert. Just my headlights carving a tunnel through nothing. First 2 hours were normal. CB chatter crackled in the background. Guys talking about fuel prices, Smokey hiding in the hills, the usual. I kept my rig at a steady 68, sipping cold coffee, listening to a country station that kept fading into static. Around 11:47 p.m., the static won. Then a new voice came through, clear as if the guy was sitting in my passenger seat. Deep, gravelly, calm in a way that made my stomach tighten. Breaker 19, this is Shadow 13. Iron Tom, you got a copy. I don't use handle Iron Tom on the air. Ever. Only my ex-wife and my dispatcher know it. I keyed the mic. Shadow 13, this is Iron Tom. You got me. Who's this? Silence. Then the same voice, softer. You shouldn't have taken the crate, Tom. It remembers what you did in '09 outside Elko. My blood turned to ice. 2009. Elko. The night I fell asleep at the wheel for 6 seconds and sideswiped a little blue Civic. The family inside never made it. I kept driving. Never reported it. Changed my plates 2 states over and drank until the nightmares stopped. Nobody knew. Nobody. I slammed the mic down. The radio hissed back on by itself. Too late now, partner. It's already inside with you. I killed the CB. Dead silence except for the big Detroit diesel humming under the hood. Then I heard it, the first sound that didn't belong. A slow, wet scraping, coming from inside the trailer, like fingernails on metal, dragging the length of the crate. Scrape, pause, scrape, pause. I told myself it was the chains shifting, wind, anything but what it sounded like. Mile marker 112. The scraping stopped. Mile marker 119. It started again, faster. Mile marker 124. A new sound joined it. A voice, muffled, right behind the bulkhead of my sleeper. A man's voice, crying. Not screaming, crying like a grown man who knows he's already dead. Please. I can't breathe in here. Tom, open the door. I floored it. The Peterbilt shuddered up to 82. The crying followed, louder, as if the thing in the crate had pressed its mouth against the inside wall of the trailer and was riding inches from my back. I needed people, lights, anything. The last chance truck stop appeared like a miracle at mile 178. Neon sign half burned out, only the word "last" still glowing blood red. I pulled in so hard the air brakes screamed. Only 3 other rigs in the lot. I left the engine running, didn't dare shut it off, and walked into the diner on legs that felt like wood. Inside smelled of old grease and cigarettes. 2 old-timers in faded denim sat at the counter. The waitress looked like she'd died in 1987 and nobody told her. I ordered black coffee and asked if the CB Channel 13 was known around here. Both old-timers turned at the same time. Same dead eyes. The older one, beard down to his chest, spoke without blinking. Channel 13 ain't real, son. Never was. But every few years some fool hauls something out of that bunker near Eureka. And every one of them ends up right back here. Still driving. Still hauling. Forever. He slid a yellowed newspaper across the counter. The headline read, "Veteran trucker Tom McCall found dead in wreck on Route 50, October 17, 2023. Today's date." My face stared back at me from the photo, except the eyes were missing, just black sockets. I knocked the coffee over and ran. Back in the cab, the crying had stopped. The crate was silent. Too silent. I checked my mirrors before pulling out. Nothing behind me. I should have noticed the new set of headlights. They appeared exactly 1 mile later. High beams, no running lights, riding my rear bumper like they were welded there. Same Peterbilt shape. Same chrome stack. Same dent in the left fender I got in Kansas last year. It was my truck, but I was driving my truck. I sped up. It sped up. I slowed 240. It slowed. I keyed the CB. "Shadow 13, you back there?" The voice answered instantly, amused. "Look in your mirror, Tom." Really look. I did. The other rig pulled into the left lane and drew level. The driver turned his head toward me. It was me. Same ball cap. Same 3-day stubble. But the skin was gray, split open at the cheek, and black fluid leaked from the corner of my mouth. The thing smiled with my mouth and mouthed 2 words I couldn't hear but felt in my bones. "Let me off." I swerved. The other rig vanished like it had never existed. But now my own trailer was rocking side to side, hard enough to make the whole rig sway. The chains inside snapped one by one. Plink, 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 like bones breaking. I was doing 90 on a road with no shoulders. The speedometer needle shook. The temperature gauge dropped 20 degrees in 30 seconds. Frost formed on the inside of my windshield. My breath fogged. And then the crate spoke with my dead daughter's voice. "Daddy, why didn't you stop?" She was 7 when I left her mother. I hadn't heard that voice in 11 years. I screamed. The Peterbilt fishtailed. I fought the wheel and kept it on the road by pure terror. The scraping turned into pounding. Heavy, rhythmic, like something the size of a man was throwing itself against the doors from inside. The rear-view camera feed flickered on even though I hadn't turned it on. The trailer doors were bulging outward, the metal warping like warm plastic. Black fluid, thick, oily, veined with red, seeped from the seams and ran down the road behind me like a leaking wound. I was 20 miles from Fallon, 20 miles from the drop point. If I could just make it. The road changed. The white lines started moving, slithering like worms. The desert on both sides folded upward into walls of black rock. The stars disappeared. Route 50 became a tunnel with no end. My headlights only reached 30 feet before they were swallowed. The thing in the crate laughed with every voice I'd ever loved and lost. my mother, my first wife, the family in the Civic, all of them at once. I saw the sign for Fallon. The exit ramp appeared like a gift from God. I took it at 70, tires howling. The drop facility was a chain-link gate with one lonely light. I skidded to a stop, threw the truck into park, and ran to the trailer. My hands shook so bad I could barely work the lock. I had to see. I had to know what I'd carried for 300 miles. The doors opened with a scream of tortured metal. The crate was empty, chains dangling like broken ribs. In the center of the floor, scratched into the steel with something sharp, were 6 words: "Thank you for the new body." I backed away until I hit the cab. The engine was still running. The headlights were still on. But the driver's door was open, and something wearing my balaclava was already sitting behind the wheel. It turned and looked at me with my own eyes, except the pupils were gone, replaced by tiny spinning odometers. It smiled the same smile the mirror me had smiled. Then it spoke in my own voice. "Shift's over, Tom. Time to ride shotgun." I don't remember screaming. I don't remember the crash. I woke up 3 days later in a hospital in Reno. Doctors said I'd been found wandering Route 50 at dawn, covered in blood that wasn't mine, babbling about a crate. My Peterbilt was totaled in a single vehicle rollover 30 miles east of Fallon. No cargo was ever recovered. The company that hired me doesn't exist. The phone number is disconnected. They told me I was lucky to be alive. But every night when the pain meds wear off, I hear it. The low idle of a big diesel right outside my hospital window. The scrape of fingernails on metal. And a voice on the CB that only I can hear. "Breaker 19, Iron Tom. You ready for your next load? This one's got your name on it." I checked the date on the newspaper they left on my tray this morning. October 17th, 2026. 3 years from the night I took the run. The headline is the same one the old man showed me at the diner. And in the photo, my eyes are missing. If you're a trucker listening to this, and you ever see a blacked-out Peterbilt riding your bumper on Route 50 with no plates, do not slow down. Do not look in the mirror. And whatever you do, don't take the crate. Because the thing inside isn't looking for a ride. It's looking for a driver. And it never, ever lets go.